There's tremendous power in the niche and the small and the individual. This is the world we're living in today, where small companies can do amazing things. Design can make or break your business today. And the first time I discovered that and the power of design was in 1999. And when I speak of design, I'm not necessarily speaking of illustrations or logos and your website, although that stuff does include design. Design, today I'm going to include things like your process, how you do what you do, the way you deliver your services, the way that you engage with your customer, the way you engage on social media about your business. All of this is part of design, and it has to be intentional. And when you do it right, and you do it well, and you are consistent, it's profound and creates a magnetic experience with your customers. So like I said, back in 1999, I had just finished school, and I studied fine arts and painting and sculpture, and I enjoyed myself. And as soon as I got out of school, I didn't want to be a starving artist, so I did the good thing, listened to my mom, and I got a good job. What are you laughing at? I wasn't. So I get an interview with the largest internet company in the world, and I'm sitting in the interview, and they go, "You don't know anything about technology. Why should we hire you? You want to be an account manager?" I'm like, "Well, I'm an artist. I naturally think outside of the box." I got that job. Now I'm working in an office with some of the smartest people in the world. As an artist, a creative, I am the only person globally that's in this position. So I am like, what do I do? Literally, not literally, these people invented the internet. This guy, Vint Cerf, used to walk around the office. You can Google him, he's on Wikipedia. He's one of the 3 people that invented the internet. He's hanging out in the office in the lunchroom. These people are ridiculously smart. So I'm in meetings now when I'm sitting down with, in boardrooms, and there's executives from national organizations, multiple countries. You have to have at least an office in 3 or 4 different countries to begin speaking to this company. It was so big at the time. And so I'm sitting across from executives, and I have to sell them internet and solutions. Clearly, everyone in the room has way more technical expertise than I do. So what do? I decide to lean on my strengths. I go to design. So I start illustrating the solution for the executives. So I start drawing these things out, and I'm illustrating the maps, and I'm showing them we can connect Germany to Vancouver, Toronto, and New York, and this is how it would work. They were impressed, they understood, and they bought the services time and time and time again. And why did they do that? Because it was simple, it was consumable in that they were able to understand it, so no one felt stupid by saying, "I don't know what's going on." And because of that, it worked over and over again, and it beat the competition time and time again. To give you a sense of price point, I was at least 10 times higher in price than my closest competitor. But they would buy my services at 10 times that price point. That's when I understood the value of design and positioning. It was worth 10 times more than the actual product. A few more years down the road, I am now own my own business. I left that company, and now I'm working for Wedge 15, beautiful company we started. And the customer that we're dealing with comes to us and he says, "I'm a startup, and I want to compete with the big boys." His job and his company takes people who have inventions that can make the world a better place, like removing carbon monoxide and clean technology, they call it. He said, "We want to find these people, and we want to put them in touch with people with billions of dollars so they can get those products made and we can save the planet." And I like that. I want to make a difference in the world. One of my commitments in life is to make a difference with design in everything that I do. So I'm like, I like what you're doing, and I'm going to use design to help you get there. So I'm like, in the normal questioning, I'm asking him, tell me about your company. What do you do? Because I want to hear people define what it is that they do before I start poking around with it. And he said, hang on one second. I'm going to send you a 19-page document. And I went, Jesus, this is not going to be. So I said, okay, I could definitely help you if you have 19 pages. Let's get together. So we sit down. And in this process of discovering why you're doing what you're doing and how you can do things, we like to have a little wine, keep the business atmosphere relaxed. So we're drinking a bottle of wine and we're working through this. I'm like, tell me about this. And I'm asking all of these questions about how you do what you do and why you got to do this and who are your customers and how do they find you and all of these things that have nothing to do with his website, which is what he originally wanted me to build. And he's like, why are you asking me about my customers? I'm like, your customers are going to end up on your website. And I want to know how they hear about you, how they find out about you, why they're coming to you, who else are they going to. All of that stuff makes a difference when you're designing something. You can't design in isolation, because then it's for you and not for the customer. The customer or the person using your product or buying your service, more importantly, paying you the money, is the one you should be designing for. It is not for you. So we get into it. And then we whittle that 19-page document down to a sentence so that he can communicate that on the phone, he can communicate it on the web, he can communicate it when he meets people and he's out networking. Because that's what matters. That's how you do business. You shake hands and kiss babies, I like to say. How are you doing? Let's sit down, let's have a coffee and talk about this and how we can do business. I don't care what business you're in, that is how you make sales. You meet people and you talk to them. It's people to people. And unless you can communicate effectively in that moment and have it nailed, it becomes uncomfortable. People are like, well, you don't sound sure about what you're doing, so thanks. It was great meeting you. That's what happens. And you're like, oh, I lost it. But once you have that message, it's crystal and it's smooth. So the 19-page document came down to this. We connect ideas to industry. It's a little ambiguous, which is perfect. It leaves everyone with this kind of, well, that's interesting, tell me more, which is exactly what you want people to do, because now you're in a conversation. You want someone to ask you more. You don't want to tell them everything. So you're designing the process of bringing them into your world so you can share. Because if you begin to sit down and tell someone everything you're doing in clean technology, they're going to go to sleep. But if they keep asking you questions, because you give them just enough to ask a little bit more, now they're inviting you to do that. That is designing the sales process. That is designing the engagement process. So he starts with that sentence, and he's off. We build his website, beautiful business cards that match the website, and we designed a process online so that people can submit their inventions and ideas, and then he can take those, vet them, pick a winner, and they get this big $100,000 prize, blah, blah, blah. They do their stuff. Within the first year, these are the results he produced. This is from zero, his basement, and within 1 year of getting that brand tight and getting that messaging, he was able to form a partnership with Procter & Gamble, a partnership with NASA. Yes, that NASA. Everyone was like, is there another NASA? No, the NASA, the space NASA. I saw the room just went quiet. And he also had over 600 people register online and upload their inventions so that he could use that. They won, one of the people got selected, and they went off to Las Vegas for this huge conference where they sat in a room with, I believe it was 15 multi-billionaires who were all interested in that person's idea, and they were the only person pitching. So that was the grand prize that the person won at the end of this. And that invention got picked up, it got funded, and they're off saving the world. So startups with proper design process and graphic design and these different things, once those things are aligned and you meet the person and it matches, it's very magnetic and it works. And it works well. We've seen this time and time again with hundreds of clients. What if your business already exists? You have an existing company. Can design actually make a difference to something that is already up and running and doing very well? I like to say yes. So here's an example. It's a local restaurateur in Toronto, has 2 locations. and they're both doing about $1 million in business a year. Doing pretty good as far as restaurants go. How can you improve on that? Well, in a staff meeting, he asks everyone, what's your biggest challenge? What is it that is bugging you every day you come into work? And they're like, the phone keeps ringing. We're trying to serve and the phone just won't stop ringing. People keep wanting to come in. This is the problem. Customers wanting to come in is never a problem. But what happens is that the servers and the staff are focused on the 4 or 5 tables that they have, and if they're full, they don't care about anyone else. But as a business owner, he's looking at the whole system. He has 2 locations. He goes, well, the other location's empty. Why don't you answer the phone and send them over there? And they're like, I don't get tips for that. Understood. Nobody's being compensated to fill the other restaurant. That's his business. So as he starts to look and think about the whole thing from a bird's eye view of like, this is my company and this is what's going on, that is actually his responsibility to make sure that happens. So what does he do? He forwards all the phone lines to both locations to his cell phone. He's answering all the calls to the restaurant. He's doing all the reservations. Within the first week, because one location was busy, he was able to transfer 20 customers to the other location. Each phone call is worth, on the low end, $100 to him. So that's $2,000 a week that was just exiting his restaurant without him even knowing it. Every week for the last 10 years. That is over $1 million. Just lost because no one's answering the telephone. Companies like Apple would bake design right into the way that they do business. Now, Apple is the richest company in the world. I don't know how many people know this. They're on track to be the first $1 trillion business on the planet. To give you a sense of how big that is, the iPhone sales in 3 months made more money than General Motors in 12 months. One product in their company. Apple uses design in a big way to lead the way that company runs. Instagram uses design to create value. And for sure you can use design to create a competitive advantage in this world, in your businesses and any project that you start. So thank you very much, everyone.